Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is March 11th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. We got Oregon, California, Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left. This is our next frontal system here. It's going to push down across the state, probably not reaching Southern California there. It's going to lose its punch before it gets there. It's going to drop off this low pressure system here, though, across some of the southwest. We'll look at those details coming up, and that's going to help spur some strong winds, some offshore winds across much of the state of California, some of the desert areas, Nevada as well. We'll look at those details also as we go through the video here this morning, checking out some of the mountain snow. Watch out across the Siskiyou Summit I-5. The snow levels are going to be generally below pass level coming up here, so heads up for that. Mount Shasta, maybe a little bit of winter driving conditions, especially as you go off into the backcountry here. And this is the wind advisory for this frontal system rolling in. You can see it does include places like Shelter Cove and up towards Crescent City. Look at that, maybe a 50-plus mile-per-hour gust there, and gust to 55 on the ridges and coastal headlands out there. So watch out, maybe some nuisance power outages. We got moderate snow for some of the Klamath, Cascade, and Sierra Nevada. You can see the snow levels around 35 to 4,500 feet. They're rising this afternoon through Tuesday. Wind gusts to 40 miles per hour, so heads up for that. Doesn't take much to make slick conditions, especially across the I-80 there. Now, mid to late week, you can see the National Weather Service Sacramento talking about the offshore wind event coming up here. So we do have a good chance of some strong northeast winds coming down across the area. I'll show you more on this here in the weather model map in a moment. If we look at the North American model, I want to show you the frontal system coming in. You can see it spreading precipitation as we go through the day today, and that'll be moving down across some of the Sierra Nevada, probably bringing some precipitation to the Bay Area as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning, some of the Central Coast as well. But it loses its punch as it moves down the state, and then we start to dry out here for much of the state of California. Again, there's going to be this low pressure system over the southwest here as well, and that could bring some precip back into the desert areas of some of southern Nevada. We'll look at that here in a moment. But now let's look at the offshore winds coming here. So we're going to scroll here through the next couple of days here, and now we're going on into a Wednesday afternoon here, and you see we just start to turn that wind offshore here as we go through Wednesday evening and Wednesday night. Some of the strong winds coming across the Sierra Nevada desert area, some offshore flow all the way down into Southern California for some Santa Ana winds here, gusty winds across portions of Nevada, Utah as well, and that continues on in through Thursday night at least. Now we're on into Friday. You can still see the gusty winds hanging around out there also, so that'll be interesting to watch. And the models have some disagreement still on this low pressure center. It's going to be setting up shop over the southwest, and I'll show you more on that here in a moment. If we look at the National Blend of Models, we'll play out the timeline here. You can see the snow starting to fly as we go through this early afternoon and through this evening, then overnight tonight to tomorrow morning. We bring that round of snow across some of the Sierra Nevada. It should be wrapping up by tomorrow afternoon. And then we're going to dry out for a time at least. But the extended forecast does show some systems rolling back in towards the end of March, but we'll break that down day by day. Looking at the European artificial intelligence run yesterday, last night's run actually, and this is that frontal system swinging through, and you can see how this low pressure center just kind of spins over the area here. The Europeans been in some disagreement with what the GFS has been saying, for example. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But you can see the big ridge building along much of the west coast of North America, and at best it's going to bring some precipitation to southeast California here, but for the most part across the state, this is not a big precipitation maker. So we are going to dry out for a time, and then on through the extended forecast, you can see the European wanting to introduce some other systems as we go through the end of March. But again, plenty of time to worry about that. Looking at I-80 here, looks like bare and wet right now across the region, but the snowfall is going to be incoming as we go through the night tonight, so heads up for that. You can see the snow levels generally around 5,500, 6,000 feet there, so that's below the pass level there, Donner Pass, so heads up. You can see that snowfall accumulating as we go on in through tomorrow morning. Here's 395. Looks bare and dry right now, not bad. And you can see some of the snow levels hovering around 6,000 feet. A little bit of snowfall as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning, maybe an inch or two. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the National Blend of Models on the right. So this is the initial frontal system swooping down there. Pretty good model agreement, really. And then that low pressure center sets up over the southwest USA. And you can kind of see how it brings that precipitation back into California, some of the peninsular ranges all the way down into Baja, Southern California, even higher terrain, getting a bit of precip out of that as well. And it wants to spin the system here and bring some pretty heavy amounts across portions of Utah, Arizona as well. And if a cutoff low sits here, you can get some surprise heavy amounts across some of the desert areas as well. But you see the National Blend of Models is not having anything of it, as we scroll out to hour 144, which would be about Saturday night. So that is something to watch, definitely. The Europeans been steadfast on bringing that system across the area. Now let's take a look at what the GFS has to say about it. This is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. You can see that frontal system coming down the state. And again, it doesn't bring much to Southern California at all. But then this low pressure is going to set up across Southwest. And you can see it keeps most of that precipitation across some of Arizona and New Mexico. You can kind of see it spinning here and then bringing that precip. Doesn't bring any back into California, however. So we do have some model disagreement on what is going to be going on here as we scroll on in through the later portion of the weekend towards the next weekend. I also want to point this out. We do have this wave action still going on across some of the coastal areas. You can see with the next frontal system we're dealing with. Kind of keeps those waves elevated all the way on in through Thursday morning. We're now into Thursday afternoon before things start to wane as we go through Friday morning here. So we're going to get a break in that wave action along the coastline, but it is not here yet. Heads up for that. You know, there's still could be some large breaking waves out there with these frontal systems, and it looks like it's going to be moving down across some of Southern California at times as well as we go on through Wednesday night into Thursday. Now look at the daily 2-meter max temperature here. Let's go out to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. See the gradual warm up occurring as we head towards the weekend. We start to kick those offshore winds, some pretty warm temperatures across the desert areas, the valley, all the way out to the coastal areas as well. And by the time we go towards the following Monday, March 18th, check it out. Some of Southern California warming up quite nicely. Some 80s showing up maybe for some of the valley areas. And of course, the deserts will be warming up in this scenario quite well as also. Looking at 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, here we go through March 20th. Above average signal, can't miss it here across much of the West Coast. There's the 6 to 10 day precipitation, and 8 to 14 day, not much has changed. And then we start to introduce a little bit across some of Southwest and portions of California, a little bit above average showing up between the 18th and 24th. We'll continue to watch that. But yeah, anyway, watch out for this frontal system. We're rolling down the state here. Wave action still on the on the elevated side. Let's just put it that way. And you can see their frontal system is going to bring some snowfall for watch. So watch out for the winter driving conditions. So it'll be interesting to say what the European shows tomorrow versus the GFS and some of the other weather models here with what this is going to do when it cuts off, because the European's been pretty steadfast. So you just don't want to dismiss it outright. And we still have a couple days to look at that also coming up. So that'll be something interesting to watch. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.